Sweet, sweet. Good to see you guys all here today. Good for you to come down to youth. We're so happy you're here. All these beautiful faces out in the crowd. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Before I get into anything, I'd just like to talk a little bit about myself. Name's Jack. It is so good to meet you guys. I haven't met you guys before. If not, I'm still Jack, and it is still nice to see you again. But enough about me. I want to ask you guys a little bit about yourselves. I want to get to know a little bit more about you guys in the crowd. Okay, so put your hands up. Yeah, put your hands up if you're scared of heights. Okay. Put your hands up if you're scared of spiders. Okay. Put your hands up if you're scared of the dark. Put your hands up if you're scared of when the tomato sauce goes in the fridge. Yeah. I know, that terrifies me. When I see the tomato sauce in the fridge, yeah, that's terrifying. It has to go in the cupboard. Let's have a look. Put your hands up if when you're outside playing cricket and Eli bowls a ball at you, you get a little bit scared. Okay. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story about when I was a little bit scared. Is that all good? Awesome. So, a couple of years back, I competed in this race. And for me, this wasn't any old race, this was a pretty big race. This race was quite important to me. It was a cross-country race. Put your hands up if you've done a cross-country race in the past. Or if you've just done a running race in general. That'll do. And this race, for some reason, it meant so much to me. It was just what I wanted to win. I wanted to do as well as possible. Just for a bit of recap, in years past, I'd come third or I'd come second, and I've been doing alright at this race, but for some reason this year I was just like, I really just want to push myself. It wasn't the fact that I really wanted to win. I did want to win, but I just wanted to go as hard as possible. So, from the get-go, when I knew this race was coming, a couple of weeks in preparation, a couple more weeks on top of the couple of weeks in preparation, I decided I am going to train. I'm going to do so much training, so I am so fit and so ready for this race. And in this training, I'd be running, doing practices around the oval, going around the beach on beach runs, just trying to get my heart rate up as much as possible, doing push-ups, doing all that kind of stuff, but also doing cardio. Yeah, I was putting so much time and effort into this one race, this one, event. This one thing, it meant so much to me. It meant so much to me, to the point that it was pretty much taking me over. I was at the point in this race where I was just like, if I don't win this race, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because I honestly spent an absolutely ridiculous amount of time, and more so effort, just on this one race. Enough about this race for now. Enough about it for now. My anxiety was creeping in. Because in the process of letting this race take me over, I'd also let the pride of doing this race sleep in. No longer was it a matter of winning the race or not winning the race. It was also the fact that this race had value in me. I was just like, I am putting my pride in whether I do well in this race or not. Nothing else mattered. For some reason, in my head, it was just this race. Bit of food for thought. On the screen, we're going to have a quick look up at Philippians 4 verse 6. This is where Paul is writing from jail. He's writing to the church of Macedonia. And in this he says, don't be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, present your thanksgivings to God. Present your requests to God. There were pretty bad things happening in the church at this time. This wasn't just any old everyday don't be anxious, give everything to God. This was pretty full on. This church at the time They were being persecuted. Like, not just like your everyday, like, you're a Christian. It was bad. It was to the point where they were being tortured, they were being killed, they were being brutally hurt. And for some reason, this just switched up in my head. It was like, okay, am I complaining about this little race? Does God still heal me? Like, how does the anxiety weigh up? But I did relate with this a little bit. I've got another verse as well. I've got another verse, another situation. Isaiah 41:10. It says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God." Dismayed is just like another word for worried. But I'm sure you guys will do that. You guys are all clever people. And in this situation as well, very, very similarly, Christians, well, at the time, people who were following God, they weren't called Christians, but that doesn't matter, they were being persecuted. These people who were following God and doing what God said, well, not completely doing what God said, but again, that's another situation for another time, they were being persecuted. They were being hurt. They were being driven out of the land. But God says, do not fear, for I am with you. In the first verse, he says, don't be anxious. Present your requests to me. And it makes us think, how does God come in when we're timid and scared? Should we have this fearlessness about us when we go into a race? Or not? Because God says in these verses not to be anxious, do not fear. But how do we not fall into the trap of them being too confident? Is there a border between the two? Should we go into a race with complete confidence? Should we go into an event in life with complete confidence? A few questions, just so you don't have to answer them out loud. Just think about them in your head. Should we fear? Is fear a good thing? Just food for thought. A couple of weeks later, or more so a couple of months later, I competed in another race. In this race, I didn't go in with the same anxiety, the same nervousness. By the way, in this first race, I'd won. That's not the point of the story, but I ended up winning in the end. That was due to the training, not to anything else. But in this second race, I was very, very, very confident. I wasn't outward like going out and bragging to people. But for some reason, I was just really, really confident. I mean, this wasn't necessarily me, but I just want to show you a little clip on the screen.
Time. Relishes it. And he and Gerald Wallace are having a conversation. That's Kobe and Gerald Wallace going at each other while Kobe's on the free throw line. Gerald's still talking to him. They're still having a conversation as Kobe's about to shoot the biggest free throw of the night. 3-point game. 4.8 to play.
That's just all in fun. Gerald was trying to...
Yeah. So Kobe Bryant was similar to what... I wasn't outwardly like this. But in my head, yeah, I was going to win. Just to quickly go into this race, by the way, I went into this race confident, and then I didn't do well. I competed this whole race after doing the last one and winning, and then going in, and I did not do well at all. So, from my race, should I fear? Fear gave me a better outcome. Does that mean I should fear? Kobe Bryant went in there. Is what Kobe Bryant did good? The confidence that he had. He put 500 grand on his shot. My man had so much confidence in his ability that he was like, you know what? I bet you $500,000 that I will score this. That is confidence. And in this case, confidence paid off. Should we be fearless? Should we not be fearless? Should we have some fear? Is fear a bad thing or a good thing? This is just what I'm trying to wrestle with you guys. I'm not too sure about this. I want you guys to think about it. I want you guys to come into a situation where in your head, yeah, we're just going to think about these things together. We're going to think about them. When we are scared, God does understand that. When we're anxious about an event, where we're putting all our effort into this event, God does understand that. He tells us not to be anxious and to have confidence, right? Because I ended up winning the race. And I was anxious. But at the same time, I was anxious the whole way through. And not going to lie, that put me in a bit of a mental state. After that race, it didn't feel any better. I was still anxious. I walked away from that race still being, if not more anxious than what I was before. Was it my fear leading into the race that made me do well? Was it? Or was it the matter of how hard I trained? For me, I reckon it was how hard I trained. I don't reckon the anxiety had any play in it. I reckon the anxiety was just my own default of not falling back on God. But the question still remains. Does God want us to be anxious? Does God want us to fear? Does God want us to have complete confidence? It's a difficult one. It's got two different sides of the situation, of this complete sense of fearlessness, but then on the other side, this sense of having fear and wrestling between the two. You find yourself in this situation on the screen where you've got two cowboys back to back. And these cowboys are going back to back and they're about to pull the trigger. You know, there's kind of like Mexican standoff kind of things where they're just like, and they turn and they shoot the gun. The tension builds. There's the tension, there's the two guns shooting, like aiming at one another. Which one's going to fire? It gets into the point where you're like, should I go into a situation with fear or should I go with complete confidence? They're directly opposing each other. Are they? I'd say they are. I'd say they are. Just to give you a little feel for how anxious I was. Have a look at this. So imagine, in the first race, just to give you guys a little visual representation, me going into this race, there's a little bit of anxiety. This is me worrying about the race a little bit. You know, a couple of weeks into training, or a couple of days into training, sorry. Okay, another day. Another day of thinking, oh, okay, I've got to win this race now. Oh, I really got to win this race. The point, you're pretty much overflowing, right? One more day. That is how I was. Every single time I'm thinking about this race, it's flowing, it's flowing. That cup was me. That cup was me, feeling full of anxiety. And to the point where I'm overflowing and no longer can I think. When there was a little bit of anxiety at the start, it was quite different. It was like, I don't know, I could probably do this race, it's all good. Oh, it doesn't matter too much, it's just a race, but the day I'd like to do well. And then by the end of it, being completely full, every single time I'd think about this race, the only thing I could think about is, will I do well? Will I do bad? What's going to happen if I don't win? What's going to happen if I do win? Creating these situations in my head, these little what-if statements, like, what if I win? What if I don't win? I'm going to let you guys split into your small groups. I'm going to give you guys a second, I'm going to give about 20 minutes or so, to really discuss in your groups. I want you guys to think about the statement, should we be fearless? The older boys, the younger boys, older girls, younger girls, you find your team leaders. If you haven't been here before, that's all good. Come with your friend who you came with today, or if you didn't come with a friend, that's completely all good because we've got some awesome leaders who are going to show you for a group in this next section. But I'll see you guys back in a sec. Everyone coming back in and take a seat, take a load off your feet. What? No, come take a seat, guys. So how did the discussions go in your group? What did you come to? What were your final situations that you came to? Did you come to a conclusion? What were you talking about? What were the discussions about? Did you come to the idea of we should be fearless or we shouldn't be fearless? Was there a way to resolve this tension? This tension that God speaks is as simple as giving our anxious thoughts, anxiousness to Him. Or is that not the right thing? Should we have a little bit of fear? How do we be confident in God? This whole situation, how do we wrestle between the idea of being fearless and not being fearless? How do we have this confidence in God? What is the right way to go into a situation? With confidence or without confidence? Today, if this is something that really hits you, you're like, anxiousness, yeah, that's me. Or maybe you're just like, I'm going into situations that I don't know what I should be doing. Or in general, if this is just in general, you're just like, yeah, this could help. This is something that I might need. This is something, maybe not even that you think you need. Maybe it's something that you're just so curious about. Something has sparked in you tonight. Maybe a small group or a leader, or somebody just said something and you're just like, I'm kind of curious about that. I want to give that a little bit of a go. I want to explain to you a little bit about what God offers us. Because there is another cowboy in this race. There's another thing that resolves this tension. All we need to do is step out in faith. God offers us this. God gives us this tension resolver. God gives us this calmness, this sense of stillness, this thing to resolve this situation. Not saying it makes it so much, easier and everything's perfect. But He does give us a way out of this. Tonight, if something has sparked, something has happened, and you're curious and you want to know, how do I get this thing that this guy with the microphone is talking about this faith, this God? How do I do it? I want to show you guys. This verse on the screen now, John 1 verse 12. It's just John explaining to us. Yet to all who receive Him, to those who believe in His name, He gave the right to become children of God. All you need to do is believe. That is all that John is saying right here. And that's all that Jesus says as well. If this is something that really, it's come to you and you're like, yeah, I want to know more about that. I encourage you, give it a go. All you need to do is believe. You don't need to go and, you don't need to go and build the Great Wall of China, or you don't need to go and become the greatest person who gives 90% of their money to charities to become a Christian. All you need to do is to believe. And believing, it might seem like a lot right now. It might seem like a pretty scary jump out in faith. But I'm not asking you to necessarily do that right now. But if something here, as I keep saying, has sparked you, has made you curious, I really encourage you, during this next song, to just go and give your leader a little tap on the shoulder, your small group leader who is out there, or just any leader person who's if you're male, a male leader, female leader, just tap them. And just say, I just want to have a little bit of a talk about this. It might be intimidating. I fully do understand that. I get that. It might be scary. You don't know what this person is going to say to you. It's normal, it's okay. But I really do encourage you, if you feel inspired tonight, to take that little leap of faith and to even just learn a little bit more about this God. Because this God does love you. And even if you've never thought about Him before, He still does want to give you a shot. And even if you don't think you're good enough for this God thinks you're good enough. So I encourage you through this next song, if this is something that has sparked and something that you feel strongly about, you just want to know a little bit more about, I encourage you to go and give your small group leader a little tap on the shoulder. Thank you, my worship team. Thank you so much, guys, for coming down tonight. If something, you thought tonight, like, I really wanted to go and talk to this person, or I wasn't confident enough during the time, it's all good. It wasn't a one-time only offer. I really do guarantee, I recommend you guys to go and, if you did feel strongly, to go and give someone a tap on the shoulder later in the night, or just go and speak to them about it sometime during this week. But I encourage you to tonight if it's something you feel strongly about. But if not, thanks for coming down tonight. It's awesome to see your faces again. We're going to get into a bit of a dance party again now. But yeah, thank you so much for coming down, guys, and we'll see you next week for an awesome Impact Night. Catch you later.